What's up, guys? Barry Gaming here, back with some more AFK Journey, and today we're jumping into the Necrodrakon fight. We're gonna do a comparison of what the current pay-to-win best team is and the free-to-play version, which is pretty much the same team that we used to use way back when the game first came out. So first and foremost, we are gonna go over the current best kind of setup here. This is the one very interesting situation where Verdant Spell is actually used. We're not using any of the other artifacts here. Verdant Spell was one of the first ones we got, and it looked pretty decent. However, it did get outshined by quite a few. This is going to be the difference maker here. Now, this team is going to be running two Hypogen heroes, one of them being Reinier at Mythic Plus for the swap, the other one being Freyesto for, well, damage, increased energy generation on the Smokey and Mirky, who is going to be getting swapped and who is going to be using the special aroma to do damage. We also have our Mikola, so between those two we should have enough healing. And really, this Smokey is here for dual purpose. Number one, get some damage in with that blue smoke. Number two, to get an attack buff on our main hero here, and that is going to be our Lily May. Now, sadly, Lily May isn't quite, you know what, it's probably something I should do before I actually go any further. I should actually just craft that. I've been waiting to see if we get lucky and get some of these, but some of these are just too good to pass up. So where are you, Lily May? So let's just get this one over here crafted. Get it going. That should be fine. That way we're now getting a bigger buff here. Increases the target's damage taken by 10% for 6 seconds after she deals damage to it, which is always. And then now at 20 and 50 seconds of the battle, the damage taken increases to 13 and 16. So that is a big boost. If you don't have that and you have a very similar team lineup, you might fall behind. Now, the other thing we also now have is the legendary version of Reinier. This is kind of important too, because that is more attack boost to the ally placed behind him, which is going to be the Lily May, which is going to be the best damage outcome we can get right here. So let's go through this. You can kind of watch Smokey and Mirky gets like some healing off. The big thing is we have so many allies grouped up. It's not like we have to worry about a silence like in Snowstomper. It's mainly just the pooled right under their feet. You can see the little circle under their feet of the detonation. If you guys never actually paid attention to that, if you watch their feet, they got this gold ring that slowly turns purple, and when it does turn purple, boom, that's when they explode. But having two of these healers on the battlefield at the same time should be a good combo, and I think we're going to be coming up on a record here. We should, at least. Yeah, there we go. So we barely get a new record, 54 billion with a B. Sadly, my team doesn't do nearly as much as some of the others in our district. So still really solid damage. We will share that. 54, really solid. And you see everybody, even on the top list here, they're running the same exact team in the same exact setup. So it really just comes down to investment and how your heroes turn out. Some RNG involved too, which is cool. But let's go over, and now let's talk about the free to play version, because let's be honest, two Celestial Hypogens, that can be a little bit risky here. We're going to go back to the old school. So the old school method still involved Reinier, because Reinier was the Mythic Plus swap. It's really hard to beat that type of damage. However, we're going way back to the original team. You guys remember this back when the game first came out? We were using heroes like Tamesia, because of course she keeps moving, she deals damage. We are going to go to two other light bearers as well, and that is going to be Corrin, which placement doesn't really matter on him. You can kind of be a little liberal with where you put him. And of course, we're going to have Marilee as the swap target. Because we're going with a single target in the back, though, we're going to go with Resonating Spell, whereas previously we would either go Enlightening or Star Shard. I think most of the time we use Enlightening against this boss, honestly. Resonating, the new version of this. Let's see what type of damage the old school free-to-play team can do. Now, there are some tweaks you could do to this type of team. You can add other heroes in like Kruger. If you don't have someone like Reinier, you can of course use like the newest hero or one of the newest heroes, Sinbad, in your team to do a very similar buff. But this team really doesn't need a healer on the team, because they are constantly moving, so they're not getting that big explosion under their feet. You can see right here, the circle goes away under their feet the second they move. So all these heroes besides Reinier and Thorn, of course, are just constantly moving, so they don't take as much damage. Corrin is providing shields. Marilee is getting healing from the swap, and Tunisia, if you have her at Mythic Plus, is also doing quite well. So it is a pretty significant difference here. So 45 is a big difference. 45 versus 54. That's a 9 billion difference. That's not something someone could really do, but yeah, keep that in mind. This is pretty much the team we probably used in the first month the game came out, because again, that was when Tunisia was actually a really good hero to go for. It's interesting how Corrin has stayed relevant into this season because of how the faction talents work. Sadly, Marilee has not. Now, one thing I have seen people do is if you don't have you can, like I said, you can throw in a Sinbad. However, this is not going to go nearly as well, and going with something with a swift heal helps a little bit. Now, Sinbad does have some mobility too, so he will remove that little mark on him as well, but it's not very often. And when we don't have a ton of healing, this is rough. However, the swift heal spell for the season is like a chain heal, which does end up being pretty decent, and it does keep the team alive, but you are missing out on a bunch of attack. But you can see here, everybody's staying pretty well topped off with this. It's just not going to be nearly as much damage. But if you don't have a Rhynier, Sinbad is always an okay substitute. It's just never going to do as good, honestly. And honestly too, Thorin, he's going down every so often, but he's getting a shield from Corrin. He's getting a heal from the artifact. 41, you can see, is about a 4 billion damage difference between a Sinbad and a Rhynier in these situations. So please keep that in mind. That is something that is very important. Last but not least, I want to show you one other thing I saw people come up with. Instead of running the Tunisia, I've seen people run a Kruger for the physical damage reduction while also sticking with resonating spell. I'd be intrigued to see how Greatsword spell works though in the same team, so let's try that out real quickly. Get Tunisia back in here. Let's see how this does damage wise. I don't know if it's going to be a huge difference here, but we'll find out for sure. It could be good because we're doing a ton of physical damage. We're doing true damage as well, which doesn't get affected by that as much. But it does seem like the charge up on the Greatsword is extremely slow on this boss. You can see we've only had like one proc so far. So it doesn't seem like this is even remotely I mean, the good thing is we get attack speed and life drain. We're also getting the highest amount of attack. But the whole giant sword coming down from the sky literally only happened a single time this entire fight. And you see right there, it's a little bit worse than going with the resonating. So that is the teams that we're using so far. If you guys find something else that works for you, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. I love doing these boss battles. It's still my favorite part about AFK Journey, and I'll see you guys next time.